Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Tech Tip Tuesday. My name is Ken Close. Here we are, just rounding the center point of September already. And it's, fall is in the air maybe for some of you guys. So I am here with Healy for quite some time. My background's as an engineer and lover of the product, been around since the beginning. And I'm joined by a couple of amazing co-hosts. I've got Jake Barron here. He is the head of ops there in Orlando. Greetings, Jake.
Hello, everyone.
And we got Henry Pena, which is our onboarding specialist and Healy guru as well. Hey, Henry, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Ken.
Awesome, awesome. Well, guys, thanks for joining us here at Tech Tip Tuesday. If this is your first time, well, welcome, and I'm super glad you're here. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're not, it's not your first time, you know how it works, but let me just tell you how this little forum works for you guys. This is a chat-based forum. You guys put your questions in the chat, and then myself and Henry and Jake, we unpack those. Sometimes the audience kicks in a little suggestions every now and then as well. And we take those questions and we do a deep dive, really try to unpack the content, give clear, concise, and complete answers. And then if we don't have the resource right here, right now, we'll get it. So there is not a question really that is too deep, too tough, or too big. So we like to get all those kind of things. What we can't talk about though, guys, there is some things we don't want to cover or we can't really cover, and that's things that have to do with diagnosing a disease, a disorder, or actually even specifically saying what program might be for some condition within a body. But as far as the apps and the technology and the quantum physics of it and the deep dives, we're so in on that. So you guys go ahead and start jamming in those questions, and let's get this party started. You ready, guys?
Ready over here.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. And if you guys don't have any questions, we'll start talking about stuff, that's for sure. We just had some pretty cool calls over the last week, right? So there's lots of information to go over. If there's somebody, you know, wanting some, we
I
can talk.
mean, it's just nice to be, we have had some sort of call the last couple of weeks on Tuesdays at this time, but it wasn't a Tech Tip Tuesday. We had Frequencies and Friends 2 weeks ago, and then last week we had a awesome episode of Healy for Beginners and Beyond, focusing just on the HighWave, and those recordings are available on our YouTube channel. And the HighWave one is available both actually in English and Spanish. The recording on the YouTube channel too. So we had a ton of people on that call, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's been a while since we've had a regular old Tech Tip Tuesdays.
Right, right. Yeah, it just so happens that sometimes things fall on Tuesday, right? And so, we come back afterwards. So this is 3 weeks in the makings, guys. So we've been working.
Yeah, and I mean anything, of course, especially with MagHealy Obsidian. We had the big Super Saturday this past weekend, and Angela Shim did an awesome job presenting. She does a great job explaining MagHealy and the technology, and how best to use it in your life, and which was really great. And we talked about the new MagHealy programs, the McMakin Plus program group that's going to be available exclusively on the MagHealy Obsidian, which launches this Friday in the shop. We actually just received them at the warehouse yesterday, so they're ready to go. But yeah, that's going to be Friday morning our time. Will be available there in the shop, and I'm sure we'll get lots more questions about that as we go. What are the McMakin Plus programs? What's different about these versus the others? And there's more resources coming. There's been a very limited amount of resources that have been shared so far. But if you go to, actually right now, if you go to, I'm just using Healy Academy as an example, but you do go to Healy Academy and you go to the download section. And actually, I wanted to point out something too, that in the past, in Healy Academy, there used to be a downloads link at the top here. You would go here and there'd be a download section. It actually got moved to, it's just in the bottom now. So in the footer sort of the page here, the download section. You can, of course, still go to back office and go to the download section there. But if you're looking for them in Academy, that's where they moved. And really, the main reason was because the search bar was recently added here too. So if you go to this search bar, you have that option, and then there's not enough space at the top, so they moved the downloads part to the bottom there. But if you go to downloads and then just click on newest uploads, you'll see there's a price list for the US. There's a MagHealy brochure, and then there's a MagHealy program overview also, which has the newer programs incorporated into it.
I love it. So look at all these resources, you guys. That's your
And yeah, there's more videos and things coming too over this week and next week also as well. Different interviews and videos and resources and all the good stuff is still in the works.
And as always with a newer launch or something like that, then more and more things come, even including with the HighWave, more and more things to come. But hopefully you guys have been able to use some of this stuff, right? And maybe have some questions because the more and more things haven't come yet, and we can help you out right now.
Yeah.
So what's going on out there, folks? Anything going on that you want to dive into, or maybe you've got somebody that you've been talking to and they asked you a question you couldn't answer. Hey, that's another one to bring here. I get those all the time. I get folks who contact me and say, you know what? I wanted to talk about Healy and they asked me a question I hadn't thought of before. I was like, okay, well, let's dive into that. Let's
I can
see.
personally say that I had trouble sleeping last night, and I used my Healy with the bed rest program and knocked me out.
I love it.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Well, so and if you guys don't have any questions, I would love to just kind of share a little bit. How do I use the Healy technology, right? We've got the Healy, of course. I have the Obsidian as well as the very first model that I ever got that's 5 years old. It is my little go-to guy. It's always here with me, wherever I'm at, it's there too. It's kind of like my buddy, right? When I got, and still working great, by the way, folks. And it still kind of looks good. I mean, it's been with me in many environments, so it's a little dirty maybe, and it's got some scuffs and things, but still. So I got the Healy, we've got the MagHealy, and now with the HighWave. So I was just doing some pretty physical stuff yesterday, heavy physical stuff, right? And moving some equipment. And I will prep myself by running, I always run the muscle program from the fitness page. Whenever I'm getting ready to go and do something, it's a good idea to kind of give your body a little bit of I don't know, a little charge, a little energy preemptive strike on the task that you have coming up. So anything you're doing in your day, whether it be you're getting ready for a big business meeting and you're trying to, focus your mind. I love to use the memory program, which is a great program from the learning page. If I'm going to be doing something even like right now, I'm running the memory program. Why? Well, because it's starting to give my body a little extra energy around memory. And the other way I use things is with the MagHealy. In the environment that I'm working, I'll run some synergistic program around the task that I'm working on, whatever the task is. So that gives me something in the environment. So I've got the personable wearable on me, as well as I've got the spatial influence with the MagHealy. And then I've actually been working with the HighWave, wearing it on my ankle. I thought I've been give this a test drive, right? And just because my hands are busy doing stuff, and sometimes I'm knocking things around that are on my wrist, including my watch. I've broke it many times. But so I thought, well, I'm gonna try it on the ankle. And it's actually one tip, pro tip here, by the way, put the Healy part on the inside of your ankle because when it's on the outside, that bone out there by your ankle bone, it gets a little wear and tear going on out there. Yeah, so I run it on the inside and I run these programs and I can, I can feel an extra sensation. Let me put it this way. I can, it's not so much maybe that I feel an extra sensation, but I just feel this extra capacity of ability or doing. Whatever I'm doing seems to be amplified, right? Now, can I record that? Well, I'm not testing all my vital signs. I'm not doing blood sampling. I'm not looking at hormonal expressions and that kind of stuff. So, do I have that kind of scientific data? No. But my perception, my awareness, that's kind of the thing to look at. How do you feel in the moment about what you're doing? Do you feel empowered or do you feel in lack? So some of those things are really important because this technology is supporting that empowerment of your body. So those are some ways that I like to do things in a trifecta, you might say, and just see how I wind up feeling during the experience. How about you guys?
No, that's a great tip, and I think it's fun to be able. We talked about a little bit last week with HighWave, and when Henry was talking about the different modalities. Now we have the microcurrent with the electrode cables, and we have the vibration. We have the MagHealy. We have the HighWave. We have the coil. So there's a lot going on there too. And like Ken, I think people love to hear tips on how others use these products and devices in their daily life. Not saying that this is how you need to use it too, but it kind of I think it helps give people ideas. Okay, yeah, that's actually a good idea. I'm gonna try using this on my ankle because my hands are occupied a lot of the time, or using certain programs in the morning or the evening or whatever the case may be too. Making sure you're taking 10 minutes each day to inform water with quantum analyzed frequencies with the MagHealy too. Like those type of things as well as like, oh yeah, I needed something else to remember to do and bring with me and whatever that kind of thing. But it can make a big impact, big positive impact on your life. Just incorporating some of these things on a regular basis, not okay once a month or once every couple of weeks. Just doing it on a regular basis to make sure you get those maximum benefits from all the different ways we can use our different Healy products.
Agreed. Henry mentioned that he used a program to help with sleep, right? So the bed rest programs, and in fact, all the sleep programs are designed to help benefit the body to move it into parasympathetic. In other words, into a nervous system state of rest, right? Repair, recovery, and growth. And so when we are in the stress response, the fight or flight, that part of the nervous system is engaged where other hormonal expressions are happening. Chemically, you're really not ready for sleep. And sometimes at the end of the day, whatever the day had brought had maybe charged you up and you're still in this stress response and you're having some struggles. So simply to move the body into that parasympathetic, that rest and digest state allows for the ability to just shut down. And there's so many processes that go on there. Everything from our cognitive thinking aware mind, going into that alpha brainwave state, all the way to hormonal things such as the melatonin and things in our body to help promote that ability to sleep. And they're super useful. Now, the other cool thing about that bed rest program is even during the day when we might be in some kind of a stress response, um, you can use that program to actually move yourself out of fight or flight and into more of a rest and digest state. Not that you're going to fall asleep, but that the body is in less chaos, meaning the resources it has to do its work has been freed up. It's been moved out of the fight or flight and moved into long-term repair projects, right? Including focus. Some people are telling me, that I feel like two things are happening. I'm losing my memory and I can't focus. Well, guess what? The more time we spend in fight or flight, that's a very highly energy consuming environment for the body. And so what's not needed at that time? When you're needing to run away from some predator. And that's what the body thinks, which is when it's in that fight or flight. When you need to do that, memory is not really necessary. You don't need to remember your fourth grade school teacher or your birthday on your 15th, year. None of that stuff matters when you're running from, some trouble or some getting out of the way of an oncoming bus. All that stuff goes away. So the body knows this. It's just objective. It takes energy from places it's not going to be needed right now and puts it into places it is needed right now. And the problem is people are in that fight or flight 84% of their day. This is the US study now showing that they're in some form of stress response 84% of their day. That is not really the way it's supposed to work. And so all the resources from making sure that you have cognitive awareness to recall function, aka memory, all that goes away, including digestion, reproduction, immune systems, all that's reallocated to stress response. So that bed rest program, you see the benefit there. You can get right out of that really quickly. Okay, we got
And
a
I think what
question.
you said, Ken, about right before the question, what you said about perception, I think is huge because I feel like a lot of people expect like a big change or like an indicator is going to be like a before and after. Or sometimes really the key is in just noticing that subtle and like, how do I feel? Do I feel better? Do I feel good? And sometimes that's it, and I felt much better afterwards.
Exactly. We need to be aware of that. Run a program, relax, and oftentimes it's like we forget to ask that question because we feel better. It's like uh, whatever was troubling us or whatever was in the way before is gone, and so we just go about our business and don't really go back into that recollection of what was going on in the first place. So again, do you need to remember that you had trouble and now you don't? Not necessarily, but if you're kind of a scientisty, geeky person like myself, I tend to try to keep note of things and how things work. So we got a question here, guys. Marjorie's asking about the HighWave. So the HighWave works with the Healy edition, correct? Um, but the new buyer would have to have a Healy to use the HighWave, correct? Correct on both accounts. So the HighWave, right? It is a wristband system that goes on your body and converts what the Healy inputs to it into a higher frequency output, right? So it's more global. Yes, it still touches your skin with the contacts here. We did some pretty cool deep dives, as Jake said, the Healy for Beginner and Beyond last week. Henry did awesome, and that presentation was fantastic. So definitely go back and take a look at that recording. But yes, the HighWave is an accessory essentially, right? Another way of application similar to the coil is an accessory with another method of application, but you still need the good old little buddy Healy. Okay.
Yeah, and if like if you only have a gold edition, for example, there's two program groups that are designed specifically for the HighWave that you purchase with that come together currently with the HighWave device itself, the MindWave and CellWave, which we talked about last week. So if you say you just have a gold, you can use MindWave and CellWave, and you can do the analysis and the Analyze app too for those program groups. But you're limited to just if you want to run your HighWave with your other programs, you're limited to just what's available with the Gold Edition. If you have a Professional Edition, you have another 200 or whatever programs that you can also use your HighWave with. Also, any of the ones that are IMF programs, you're able to use also with the HighWave, which is cool. So it's not just those two new program groups, even though those are specifically designed to take full advantage of the high frequency carrier wave, but then to also have the ability to use it with all of your favorites, use them in a different way that you've never done before.
Exactly. Just like with the coil, right?
Mhm.
The coil is it's similar. The IMF programs are the ones you would want to use with your coil. So those are optimized for the use with the coil as well as the HighWave. So just another application method. So hopefully you
Yeah.
guys can take
And
advantage.
I guess really just one thing to keep in mind, if we talk about any Healy, just as we talked about in detail last week, is that as long as it doesn't have a plastic clip, that's one thing to keep in mind too. If you try to use a plastic clip Healy in the HighWave, it's going to be very difficult to get out of the HighWave, which is why we do not recommend using that combination together.
Yeah, there was some demonstrations and some pictures that showed on that presentation last week. So it showed, like my original Healy, right? It had the plastic clip. Now it's got the little tab on it, right? That I use that, but it's not optimized for use with the HighWave, right? The HighWave
Yeah.
has a little slot in it that the metal clip is designed to slide in and then anchor it and lock it into when it connects with the pins. That's the design. And so the older model isn't optimized for
Mhm.
it. I did a bunch of little looking into it from an engineering mind about the older style, the one that had the plastic clip. And even without the plastic clip, when you go to have maybe no, because you know how you can remove the plastic clip on the old design, you can put the tab in for putting it on a lanyard. Even without that, you're still running a risk of damaging the HighWave by using that on the device, on the hardware here. You're running a risk of damaging the wristband or the HighWave itself.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not recommended. Okay. So
I also
here,
shared the link for the deep dive of the Healy Highway for anybody
Okay,
who's
great.
interested, because that really covers pretty much any question you could have about the Healy Highway.
Yeah.
So make sure to watch it. If you're interested in having a Healy Highway or you already have it and have some questions, I can assure you in that video we will probably be answering any question you can
Mhm.
have.
yep. It's got great illustrations. So, it was a great presentation. Good job, Henry.
Of course, thank you.
And if you guys want to save the chat, so it's in the chat right now, right? So if you want to save that, if you're on your computer or your laptop, all right, your PC or your laptop, at the top of the chat box there, where it says Healy Tech Tip Tuesday, three little dots,
Mhm.
tap on those or click on those, and it'll drop down a save chat option. And then you'll have these links. You can save that chat to your computer or your laptop, not your mobile device if you're on us with us mobilely.
Mhm.
But also like you can go to the YouTube channel and you'll see it there. Um, let's see. What else we got, guys?
So we were talking about sleep earlier. It's never good when you have trouble falling asleep. But Henry mentioned, had that issue last night. And hey, today actually we have our next episode of the Healy Solutions Series, and it's on sleep support. So Henry, it's 7:30 tonight. We'll send you. Highly recommend anyone that has had issues in the past or has new or just wants to learn more about how Healy can help support, more, deeper sleep and that kind of restful sleep as well. It's a great. These are shorter sort of meetings of 30 minutes or less, and there's a lot of great content that are shared in these, and you can join them live again 7:30 Eastern tonight. I'll put the link into the chat here. But yeah, would love to have, as many people as possible on that call. But for those of you that can't make it live, of course, the recording will be available on our YouTube channel, the Healy World Learning Hub also. But it's going to be another great one. And there's so many people um, out there that do have trouble, whether it's falling asleep or staying asleep or, not waking up feeling refreshed and that kind of thing. And we're going to kind of talk about a little bit of how Healy can help support some of these issues.
And I like the subject too about sleep,
Mhm.
because it's oftentimes, well, first of all, folks, our body needs this recovery protocol. It needs that part of the circadian rhythm. We live on this planet with the rising and setting sun. No matter where you are, you're going to experience the sun's influence, right? That's a circadian rhythm wherever you are. And that turns systems on and off in your body. And it uses the optic nerve, it uses information in the brain, chemicals and processes. Over 400 systems go off and on in your body based on light, right? It's incredible. Now, what if you're not gaining that sleep that's necessary? Well, just keep in mind that a big piece of your repair, your body repairing itself, okay, happens typically between about midnight and 2 a.m., wherever your circadian rhythm is. That's the biggest building block period. And while you're in that REM state, you're in that, your mind is out of the way, and the objective body and its wisdom within itself is healing, right? This is incredible, by the way. I mean, the intelligence we have in this body is far surpasses mine as far as my cognitive brain. The things it's doing is like incredible. I couldn't manage all that and try to run a career and a family and all that. I was like, really? No way. But thank you, body, for doing it on its own. But it does require this thinking, analyzing, interfering mind of ours to get out of the way. Okay. So if you're laying there plagued with thoughts, and it's okay. I mean, we do have a lot of thoughts every day, but not while we're trying to sleep, right? If you're plagued with these thoughts, that means there's a part of your chemistry that hasn't downregulated yet, right? And so when we use the Healy, it helps these systems to function as they normally would. So, and like I mentioned earlier, we would want to preempt that experience, right? So running that bed rest program or running some of the sleep programs prior to getting to bed, right? That if you're having trouble sleeping, say historically, right, then it'd be a good idea to get that busy, get that going. But let's just say you wake up in the middle of the night, right? Let's just say something's going on, and then go ahead, fire up your Healy, run that program. I have fallen asleep with my Healy on me many times. Wake up the next day and it's like, oh, here's over here, whatever. It's like, it's okay. I mean, I slept, I was out, right? I'm just laying on it on my cheek or something right there. You know, you got this little square imprint on your face from
A power button on your face. Yeah.
right, right. No, I mean, it's just the thing is that I got the sleep I wanted, you know, without judgment. You know, just don't look at my bed face when I wake up. But the point is, it still happened, and then your body has reason. So you're ready for the next day, and we can't get that back, right? We can't like get extra sleep to fix one circadian rhythm imbalance. Work. So we got to make sure we're doing this on a regular basis. And so here we go. Marjorie's some of the question, guys. So she said, I've tried for a few months to change my wallet, my personal bank account. This comply with all the request requirements, and give the special saying with documents, but still their message. eWallet. Okay. So Jake, you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, I mean, so first, I'm sorry you're having the issue of getting the bank account transferred over, but yeah, there is live support. I believe both phone and chat for eWallet. Let me we'll take a look on the call here, but I know there's a contact page for eWallet that I'm pretty sure does offer both. So yeah, we'll get you the right information that you need to be able to get in touch with them. I know a lot of people have had really great experiences once they reach out to them by phone or email to get this resolved, because this does not seem right. There must be something else going on here as far as why it's not getting transferred over right away.
Yeah, eWallet does have a great live customer service and phone number and the whole works within that platform. So Healy uses eWallet as the transfer hub and the processor. So if there's something going on, they would want it. First of all, your eWallet will verify everything's fine and good on that side. If there's something from Healy's side, then Healy's customer service there. But Yeah, definitely eWallet bot or phone. Actually, they have a number. Wonder if I still have that number.
Yeah, I have the link to the contact us page. But yeah, there is a 800 number that you can call.
Right, without get solved. They are really good about helping. I've referred many people to their customer service and get solved. Okay, so let's talk a little bit too about if we don't have any other questions here, let's talk to you a little bit more about supporting these bodies. There you go. Jake just put that link in there. So Margie, hopefully that will help you out there on that. You can do it actually live while you're right here. Maybe you'll solve it in the present
Yeah.
moment.
Call them up right now. Tell them you're in the middle of Tech Tip Tuesday. We want a resolution immediately.
Right now, we're gonna broadcast it over the global. We're telling how awesome they are. So as we're working with these bodies, folks, one thing I want to really point out, and this is what my years of study is, it's not always something you're going to add to the body to get it to perform better. Sometimes it's a matter of removing things. Let's just say what a Healy program does. It doesn't just, the frequencies that you're getting are frequencies known to align and harmonize very specific functions in the body, but also down regulate certain things that shouldn't be on in this moment. You know what I mean? So for instance, when we're trying to move into that rest and digest, we would want to down regulate some of the triggering things that move us into fight or flight. So it's kind of a moving us over from one to another, down regulating stress response, up regulating the rest response simultaneously so that we can get in that. So again, we're removing certain components. It's just like a wave that moves out into a pond. You drop a big old rock in the middle of a pond and this wave moves out. When it hits the shore, it comes back in, right? And some of those waves collide and amplify each other, and some of them may nullify each other. So the ones that get nullified or reduced are pretty much gotten rid of. The ones that are amplified are the ones that continue to propagate into expand. So we're doing the same thing here. Frequency is a wave. It's a wave. It's an informational wave, and it can amplify systems in our body. When we have a frequency that a skin cell, right? It has its own frequency. And if we put in a frequency of that exact same as the skin cell, we're going to help that skin cell. We're going to amplify it. That's kind of the idea, is that frequency can amplify, and it can also down regulate things. So sometimes removing things from the body. It's just another example, guys. If you're, I don't know, you got a thorn in your finger, right? It's better to remove it than to put a Band-Aid on it right now, right? Yeah, you put a Band-Aid on it to protect it from getting another thorn, and maybe, it protects it from hurting even more when you touch it. But the thorn's still in it, right? So it's a good idea to get that thorn out. It might hurt at first, but get the thorn out. Then the healing can start again. The foreign object in the body doesn't like that. So it's going to work on getting rid of that. So we can help our body with that. That makes sense.
That's why we have programs like Release from the Gold Cycle program group. Send to release, help you release whatever it is that may no longer serve you in the moment.
100%. Another example, like even from the Soul Cycle page, I love a lot of those programs on the Soul Cycle page, you guys. There's like confidence. The other day, here's a real vulnerable moment. Okay. The other day I was like, man, I just don't feel like powerful. I don't feel very empowered right now. And so I ran the self-confidence program on the Soul Cycle page, right? And it was funny because what's interesting, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes you just don't notice the fix, but you're fixed, right? In other words, I'm feeling like this disempowerment. Things aren't seeming to go the way I want them to go. And so I ran that self-confidence program, and And later on in the day, I look back and wow, things are going my way, man. I feel amazing, incredible. Things are happening the way I want them to. The truth is, the things may have still been happening the same way they were earlier. I felt different about them, right? I viewed them from a different perspective. And could Healy have been the one to help me with that? Sure, absolutely. I ran it. And so I did reflect later on to look back and go, okay, here's the tipping point when I was feeling this way, and then I wasn't. And Healy was my interface. So it's another great way of moving the needle of success for yourself.
Sometimes having that sense of mindfulness, of that sense of awareness between the before and after takes practice, because we as humans are almost kind of like wired to have that conditioning known as negativity bias. We tend to focus on the negative more in the positive. So actually focusing on the positive, unfortunately, requires practice. That's why there is such thing as practicing gratitude and reminding yourself of the positive things, and reminding yourself also of like, okay, I feel better than I felt 5 minutes ago. I feel better than how I felt an hour ago, because otherwise the tendency is just to focus on, oh, now I feel worse than I felt 2 hours ago. Like that's why you have to practice it.
That's 100%. This is a super important point that Henry said there, guys, because this attitude of gratitude, we are always projecting a signal, always, right? Every cell in your body is projecting a signal, and they are in groups, they are in families, they are in community, and they amplify each other. Okay, and that signal, you've got a coherence and incoherence, right? Marshall just said that about coherence. I love that. Yep. Coherence and they amplify or nullify. In physics, we call it a constructive interference or a destructive interference. Constructive interference means you've got interference, one item interacting or anything, but it's constructive. It's adding to it. So within our body, same way, and we will project a frequency, a signal from these bodies. Have you guys ever been around somebody that just is kind of whole hum and low vibe and that kind of thing, right? And then around someone who is very highly energetic, very charismatic, right? You can feel the difference, yes? And they don't even necessarily have to say a word. I mean, honestly, the spoken word isn't what you're necessarily feeling. You're feeling their energy field, and they transmit that field outwardly easily, 3 meters, right? Can transmit out easily that far. So when you're in proximity with people, you're going to receive their signal and they're going to receive yours. So it's really a good idea to maintain that attitude of gratitude, unless you want to be amplified in the negative, because there are going to be others out there with that similar frequency of negativity that will amplify it. We wander around this world in presence, three-dimensional space, and in energy, in thought, as well as just the transmissions of our own magnetic fields. And in every moment, there is influence. There's a consciousness as well as vibrational fields. And we can transmit anger when we're in that emotional state. We can transmit joy when we're in that emotional state. Either one of those will be amplified by the world, by the consciousness, either one of those. So the question is, which one do you want to be amplified? Do you want the anger to be amplified in you? Because it will. There's plenty out there, and that energy can come in and amplify your state. Or you want it to be joy. Some of these emotional states, these lower frequencies, have essentially a life of their own, an energy of their own. Anger can be one of those ones that will build and build and build. And there's enough amplification out there to help you build it. So be mindful. Be mindful, as Henry was saying, of what's going on. All right. I don't see a lot of questions here. Anything coming up that we want to chat about?
Well, I mean, of course, I mentioned tonight we have the Healy Solutions Series, 7:30 Eastern on sleep support. And then the MagHealy Obsidian, really, that's the big thing going on this month. There's a little bit of information out there as well. But yeah, this Friday, you'll see it in the Healy shop available for purchase. And I know a lot of people are going to really want to get this to be able to access those McMakin Plus programs, which for those of you that haven't seen them yet, there's some information on them in the download section that we kind of showed earlier. But we're talking body flexibility, joint mobility, spinal disc harmony, skin sun harmony, skin comfort, weight harmony, deep breath, night harmony male, night harmony female, space clearing, clarity, and post stress. So these are really great programs. And I recently saw an interview with Kevin McMakin as she was talking about why these 12 programs as well, and how they complement the first two groups of McMakin programs also, and really put a lot of time and really into making these part of the the MagHealy collection as well. And I think we've had some people using these programs for a couple of months now, actually, and there's some really great results and some studies that are going to be released also.
Great. Supportive studies are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we got some cool stuff coming up for the McMakin. All right. So Margie's asking about any upcoming Healy conferences.
I'm not 100% sure. We have our own events calendar here, and actually EMEA has their own events calendar also. I think it's let me see.
I know that there's a tour going on, or a bus tour going on, kind of global one.
Yeah, there's a big tour going on over in APAC, starting the end of this month and into early October with Marcus Schmika and Mark Boonzire and a couple of the leaders from the APAC team there also, which is going to be awesome. I think they're hitting 6 different countries, actually. But yeah, I'll check to see if I can find anything coming up in EMEA. But I mean, the big event over in EMEA, not in Germany, but in Austria, was this past weekend. The big leadership summit in Vienna, Austria. You may have seen some little video clips here and there on our social media channels. Also, it looked like it was an amazing time. The different tours and dinners and everything that they had there, and actually some of the leaders that qualified for this trip, they're actually at the office in Berlin today. They did a little tour there also, and then they're going to be heading over to the castle as well.
It's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
There's a device that Marcus talks about over there, inside the Healy Technologies, a closure up near.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently there's a life size one actually being, so. Let's see what we can do there in the quantum field.
So they're actually, I'll share this link here, but looking at the EMEA events calendar, there's a meeting in Cologne, Germany on actually this coming Saturday, looks like. So I'll send a link there. You can do whatever you want with it, but there's a link on this events page that you can, I think, register. So anyway.
There you go, Marjorie. You can tell your husband. My hubby wants to know, so there you go. All right. What else we got, guys? So there's some upcoming things, some events. Anything you guys want to know about Healy? We've talked about the HighWave and programs are there. There's 2 pages of programs in the back. The new MagHealy Obsidian.
Yeah, I
So
mean, with HighWave and MagHealy Obsidian and some of those things coming up, and I mean, really, and also it's almost the end of Q3. Hard to believe that that is almost over, but that means that we're going to have another one of our quarterly Tech Tip Tuesday celebrations coming up also. So we'll stay tuned for details on the date, but sometime in October we'll do the Q3. Actually, well, I guess we'll be doing the Q4, some sort of celebration, the fall, sort of fall celebration or whatever we'll call it. So,
yeah, and par for the course, you guys, there's been prizes to win, and
oh yeah,
so brush up on your Tech Tip Tuesday trivia, right? So there's questions on there, and then there's some prizes. So yeah, it's a fun time. As well as
absolutely,
we can answer questions. So
yeah.
all right. And by the way, folks, if there's when you're talking to people about Healy, well, mine's pretty much part of my wardrobe almost everywhere I go. And I get people asking me questions all the time because it's got little blinky lights on it, and I got it around my neck, and then there's wires hooked up, and they're like, what are you doing? I do a lot of, you guys are familiar with the word biohacking, right? So that's what we're doing. Biohacking, it's biologically kind of hacking the body a bit, but there's also biostacking. So we're stacking different modalities. Some of you guys take supplements, right? You might have some vitamins, you might have a certain diet you do. Those things stack upon each other. That's again biostacking. And so if I'm doing things in my life, I like to stack things up to give my body the highest amplitude of influence. And can it do it all by itself? Yes. These bodies are super intelligent. They can do amazing things. In fact, without putting much into it at all. However, just do this experiment. If you stop drinking water, for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, by third day, you're going to see how much that resource really means to your body. Do the same with food. You can go 3 days, a week, 2 weeks. You're going to really, really see how valuable the food you're ingesting is to the body. So there's a technique that I use. It's called hedonic calendaring. It's a method of removing all the things that I do, give it a certain period of time, and then add certain things back and find out their incredible influence on my body. And if I again, it's another way of weeding out certain things that aren't useful anymore. Sometimes we're just in this habit of taking all these vitamins and supplements and this diet and all this stuff and never really know if it's still useful or not. We've done it for years. And so it's not until, you stop doing it that you notice its effectiveness or it has no effect at all. And so it's better to really hone in on what's useful right now. Just because you've been doing it for a decade doesn't mean it's still necessary. In fact, you may get rid of it and find that, oh my gosh, I'm actually feeling better because the body didn't need that in the first place. You were just told by somebody maybe, hey, I take this and it's great for me. You should do it too. Not true, folks. What's true for one isn't true for all. So this is why Healy has hundreds of programs and various ways to apply them, right? So that we can really drill down what's useful in our bodies. So hopefully that helps, guys. Got about 9 minutes left, everybody.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I always like to remind people to check that YouTube channel on a regular basis. Every week, of course, there's Tech Tip Tuesdays and Healy for Beginners and Beyond and that kind of thing. But Henry's been adding a ton of content here related to those advanced Healy trainings from the APAC region. I mean, sometimes I'll check it and I'm like, oh man, there's been 4 videos added just since I was last week too. So there's really, I don't think you could ever say you need more, can't find enough Healy content available too, because every week there's hours of content really being added there also. And then of course, Healy Academy is updated on a regular basis as well with new videos, and whether it's the stuff in the science behind section or in the Analyze app, the social salts video as well, which is super cool, which was added just just in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, there's lots there already, and there's lots more to come and being added on a regular basis.
Click on the subscribe button and then click on the notifications tab. So you get notified every time a new episode or new something is added to that channel. On both of those. So hit the subscribe button and the notifications button. And then you'll see how much content gets added every week because you'll get notifications, right? You may not have noticed before, but those notifications are going to tell you that there's new content there. And then spend just a half hour or an hour in there, and you'll see. Just scroll through. And what I like to do is I like to pay attention to my intuition. Right? Something will resonate with you. Doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter why. Don't analyze it, because the moment you go into analytics, intuition dies. So you just let yourself be aware, and then all of a sudden it goes, ooh, there'll be a word or there'll be content, a bit of information. Ooh, that ooh means click on it. That's what the ooh means. Click on it and watch it. And that'll be something you'll learn. And here's the fun part. Inevitably, when you watch that, it will trigger something else you want. There's always, it's not just a single, whenever you follow your intuition, it's not just a single little tap on the shoulder. It's typically a rabbit hole you need to go down because it's something that's probably missing in your life or someone you love. This happens to me, folks. That's how I live my life. I will intuitively follow something pretty much through its full range. And at the end of it, I'll go, huh, that wasn't for me, but it was super cool. And then within a day, maybe even within a week, somebody comes up and asks me about a piece of information. And I'm like, oh, I just studied that. And so we'll go along that conversation. I'll offer them all the resources that I got and my take on it. And bam, now we've made a community again, right? So, just thinking about that, walk down that path for a while, and you're going to see what I mean. This is how our source, divine creator, intelligence within these bodies, are communicating with the world and the world with it. That's your intuition.
It really is impressive how these synchronicities happen like that. I mean, just today, I decided for some reason, I decided to bring up the thing about me sleeping and the Healy coil and the sleep program. And then today is the Healy Solutions Series for sleep.
See? Yeah. It's never singular. And I had a mentor tell me talk to me about coincidence. You guys have heard of coincidence, right? When we are in a experience, that's the incidence, right? And then whatever that experience has, it has familiarity around it. And when we are in that familiar incidence again, that's a coincidence. It's two. So in other words, let's say a friend of yours, recommends a book. Okay, you say, oh, there's this book I read. It's amazing. You're like, yeah, cool, great. That's the incidence. Wander through your life, maybe a week later, a month later, somebody else says, oh, you should check out this book I just got done reading. It's this. And you're going, oh, that's the second time somebody's referred that to me, right? And then you move along through your life, you don't do anything about it, right? And then a third person, total stranger perhaps, maybe you're at a library somewhere and there's the book on a shelf right there, the third time that you find the experience of this book in your life. So the first time's an incidence, the second time's a coincidence. The third time is an undeniable message. Undeniable. It's undeniable. You can't make this stuff up. So you need to read the book or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Those things come in groups like that. Yes, there is magic all over. So many people miss it. Laura says there is magic, and there is magic. We can believe that everything's a miracle. or nothing's a miracle. Either way, you're right. Correct? So I say, oh my gosh, that's a miracle. I wake up every day with gratitude, wonder, and motivation, is desire. Desire is a great way to feel motivated because, you know, you can go to an event and be all hyped up by the event, but there's no desire with the content that was just presented to you. It doesn't feed your heart. You don't feel a desire for it. That motivation dies off. Motivation is fed by desire. So what's your heart saying? Go out today and listen to your heart. What is it you haven't done yet that you just really desire to do? I know, be on Tech Tip Tuesday, right? That's why you're here. All right, guys, about 3 minutes. Anything?
I'm pretty sure we have answered all the questions so far. I think so.
Yeah, we're really caught up on questions. There wasn't a lot today. There is some great links in the chat there, guys. There's some great links. So make sure if you haven't saved that chat, go ahead and do so. And then even while you're on this call and you're on your PC or laptop, you can click on those links and they'll open over here on the side, right? And they'll be open for at the end of the call. You can even just dive into those and take a look at the events calendar. Take a look at the YouTube pages. Those things are in there. And definitely subscribe. If you're on those pages, subscribe so you're part of the family.
Stay tuned for more later this week and next on MagHealy Obsidian. And for those of you that, you know, even if you're not really wanting to purchase one, there is the opportunity to earn one for free this month and next. There's a part 1 and a part 2, but there's details as well as far as the B2B promo available. I believe the flyers in back office now. If not, it'll be by the end of this week. And then also just know that even though the MagHealy Obsidian hasn't launched yet for this B2B promo to earn it, it actually goes back to the beginning of September. So any sales made September 1st or later count toward this promotion also. So it's going to be a great way to get your hands on the MagHealy Obsidian, or maybe you want to buy one and earn one for free, you know? So
there you go. All right. Great. Let's go for it.
that's right.
Win that MagHealy Obsidian.
Put it out there. Make it happen.
So there's your intention. There's a great experiment.
Yeah.
Put it out there. And remember, when you're creating, manifesting, we don't manifest from a state of lack. We manifest from 2 very important positions. Number 1, positivity, as if it's positive, it's something that you want, you desire, you love. And then secondly, as if you already have it, as if it's already happened. How would you be? Who would you be? What would you do as if it already happened? Think about that. Walk down that platform, walk in that self all day, and you'll watch the things line up. Synchronicities all around. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks everybody for being here. Any closing things you guys want to add?
No.
Just remember, Healy Solutions, 7:30 tonight, Eastern time.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all for being here. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.